Hey everybody, welcome back to Truck Talk. There's sometimes that we have to face difficult things, and like the video that's previously uploading, I was touching a little bit on a person that uh, it's to have compassion. Sometimes we gotta listen, and we have to put ourselves in someone else's place to understand what they're going through. Sometimes we might not even have the words, but sometimes just listening, sometimes just being that person there, just give them a hug, to walk with them and be still. You know, um, Sometimes to be there for someone is better than not having anyone at all. And sometimes in the devil's realm, that's what he likes to do. Uh, you know, I didn't give this person's name because I didn't get an okay, but now I have an okay. But I'm not going to give the last name. I'm just going to say, I, I'm just going to say two things real quick on the name so we don't get it confused. Her name is Donna, but not the one that goes by Donna Love. That being said, I never want anybody to get confused. The grieve, it could be in many different ways. People grieve over different things: animals, jobs, they stress, that everyday life, losing a family member. Uh, we always feel like, as a parent, that we would go before our children. Well, Donna, in this case, kind of like what I was mentioning in the video that's uploading, lost her daughter. So, to get the facts and to go through it and to respond back to her, we all know that I'm better at doing videos than trying to respond on paper, on a text. So, as I was driving today after getting that video done and understanding and just wondering why life is the way it is, and things that we don't understand, to having faith and trust in God. Now, as I'm reading the messages and I'm going over this, first of all, to have someone put a lot of trust and faith in you, that um, it truly means a lot, because to trust someone enough to share their story and to bring light into a darkness area, it it's something that you don't want to basically make light of it either. So as I was driving, I was asking the Lord for different ways, and even getting stopped today, just asking, give me the words, Lord, to comfort people in their difficult times. So I'm reading through there, and I'm getting a little bit of the history, and with the events that take place. The most thing that caught my attention the most is, the fact that you wasn't able to have kids, and then God blessed you with a child. I think back when I was young, uh, it was raining, I was drinking, and it just started raining, and I was riding my motorcycle that day, and I went to leave from where I was at. And again, I don't ever recommend drinking and driving on anything, let alone being on a motorcycle. Well, as I came around the bend and as I came down, it curved like this, and you got on the expressway. Well, as I was coming around the bend to do that curve, I shifted gears and I knew better because the pavement was wet and I was going way too fast. Well, I lost control of the bike and I went over the handlebars, and pretty much I still got a scar on my private area. And I remember the doctor telling me, because of the damage and stuff like that, that I most likely probably wouldn't be able to have kids. And it's kind of, when you want kids, I always wanted the big family and stuff, I was kind of devastated by it. And then so I end up getting with the kids' mother, and she had 2 kids, like I've mentioned on different videos. The one was just turning 1 year old, and the other one, I believe, was turning 2 or 3. Can't quite remember. It's been a long time. And I pretty much started raising them, and I fell in love with the children because I seen how they were living, and it brought that compassion and stuff, and trying to do a better life for these children than what they were going to have. Now, I'm not saying I'm the perfect answer for it, because obviously I wasn't, and because I allowed more hatred, more stuff to enter into my life than I just lost sight of everything. But when God blessed you with that child, see, I go back to my first daughter, and there's 2 ways that the devil brought pain to this. The first blow was, I forget how many months pregnant she was, and I get a call. My boss shows up and says, "Hey, you got to go to the hospital." And then when I'm there, it was like they couldn't find no heartbeat, couldn't find it, they pretty much said, we think that you're going to lose this child. They couldn't find anything. And you just, again, I wasn't in church and I wasn't a praying person, but it just gave me another fire at God, basically. And I was mad. Why do you keep doing this? And you go through life blaming God for so many things. So many things. I remember back thinking, it's because of you, God. Never once did I think it's because of me. Being disobedient and being in the lifestyle that I was in. But also it just goes to show you that it shows you that the devil could care less about you. He's never going to give you anything long-lasting, let alone positive, to bring joy to you. So you think about that, and then there was a time that I was told that it's a possibility that she may not be mine. See, their mother, as far back as I can remember, it was not it wasn't even really a relationship, because it was more, I knew all the times that she cheated on me. I knew all the times she falsely accused me of it. And it got to a point that as long as I could be there, I could make sure the children was being taken care of. So when you have no love for something, it doesn't bother you. I don't know. I tend to think back sometimes. It was either 23 or 24 years of these things. And Donna, where I'm going with this is, pain comes in different ways. The devil destroys everything. You know, the one part that you touched on was the boyfriend and the lifestyle that he was into. I can relate to because of my younger years and following the devil's pathways. You have to understand that I'm not saying your daughter was wrapped up in that stuff, but it's not good. It's not good to be around any kind of demonic activities at all. Must have been pretty deep into it for his mother to not want him in the presence of the home and stuff. But I was thinking, you might be the first person that I'm stumped on. And I can't imagine one of my children running up to me asking for help and doing CPR and not be able to ride with them and the paramedics. I had an incident happen to where I wasn't able to ride along, and I was devastated. I couldn't get to the hospital. It felt like I was driving in slow motion to get to the hospital as fast as I could. The hopeless feeling, I guess, what comes to me, because I try to put myself in that time frame. Thoughts. My thought would be, God, please don't let my child die. Take my life. And I did share, I don't know if I've ever shared the story on here, but I did with Darlene. I don't know if Darlene's youngest daughter, if I ever told them or not, but her granddaughter, Chloe, the one that was with us from birth, and the one I was talking about on the video that's uploaded now, when you're accused of stuff that isn't true, and the removal of things because you're just an evil seed to do something like that, first of all, to a child or anybody else, that truthfully, that you're gonna live a haunted life yourself of your own thoughts because of what you've done. But I don't care if you don't want the child around me. That's one thing. But to take a child away from the grandmother that was there, that raised that child, she was more of a mother than grandmother, and that's where I started separating these things, because I got tired of listening to people take credit for things that they weren't doing, and that kind of stuff bothered me, and it was like our lives were being put on hold while I'm watching this running around and all this stuff and going, well, wait a minute. And you're sitting here taking this credit. But, I remember even the child being born early was the mother's fault. Didn't follow the doctor's orders. It was, all her friends were having childs. She wanted to have this child so fast. So there's consequences to everything. But I remember we went up there and I was looking through the mirror and I seen angels around. Now, I've never told anybody this part. I seen angels around, and I seen the one angel with her hands out, and I knew that angel was there to collect her. And I remember standing out in that hallway, and I remember tearing up, and I said, oh God, please, for the sake of them, do not take this child. Take my breath instead. Now, I'm not saying this to brag on myself or anything, because I truly meant what I prayed. See, when you put yourself in a situation, it's up to God. We have to understand that some things may not turn out the way that we expected. And unfortunately, your daughter passed away. Your granddaughter lives. It's that thing sometimes, why does your child live and my child dies? Also the sickness and stuff that she was going through. But you look at, God can heal anybody. You can start questioning these things, but I'm glad you didn't. I know you're still healing, and it's okay. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be disappointed. But it's not okay to think about taking your life. God knows what He's doing, whether we understand it or don't. I'm going to share something, and I think I did. I don't know if I did it on the Randy K one, or I think I did it on the one that I did about hell. I may not have. I mean, it's been a while back since I even listened to the one that I did on here, but either way, if not, if you heard it before, then just walk with me on this. What came to my mind a little bit ago was a good friend of mine, very, very, very good friend. Didn't drink, wasn't like us, always trying to get me to go to church with him. And the other kids kind of made fun of him and stuff, and I was like, just leave him alone, I remember calling him one night. Now, granted, payphones back then. I remember calling him, and I was so mad. I wanted to leave this place I was at, and I couldn't find my keys. And I called him and asked him if he could stop by my house. And anybody that knew me, my one window, you could push in on the plexiglass and reach your hand up there and unlock the window. You can raise the window. People that needed a place to stay and I wasn't home, that's usually how they got in my house. Well, an apartment anyways. And he says, Nelson, where are you? And I told him where I was at, what street and stuff, and he goes, all right, I'm on my way. And I said, just bring me my keys, man. That's all I want. And he goes, no. And he said, I will not do that, but I will come and get you, and I will take you to your house. So I'm waiting over the bridge, and I'm sitting there waiting, and I was walking back across the street because one of the guys who was yelling at me wanted to know if that set of keys was mine. And as I went to walk back across, I'm not for sure today if it was an angel. I don't quite know what it was. I just seen something flash quickly towards me. And I heard this car from where I was standing in front of the bridge in the side street by the church. I heard this car come around the corner, and as it was turning, I heard the squealing and locking of the brakes. My friend that was coming to get me, now granted, I've been drinking all day long. It was a Saturday, and I was pretty much beyond where I should be. And he jumped out of his, put his car in park, jumped out of his car and ran. And as he ran, he pushed me back. And as he did, the car struck him. And I heard that thump. And the guy that was driving was under the influence. And I just ran up to him and grabbed a hold of him, and we had some words, and he passed away in my arms. And I carried a burden many years. And I kept apologizing. I should have never called you. And he said, God has a plan for everything. You remember that. Don't give up on God. And we had a few more things, and I just kept trying to keep him awake, and he passed away. And it was a difficult moment because, if I would have never called him, I could have just walked. But I wanted to drive to another place. Not only did he save my life twice that night by not allowing me to drive, but he pushed me out of the way. So I can understand your pain on that. Donna, I look at life different than I suppose most people do. 2018, I might have it backwards, but I believe my mother passed away. Yes, my mother passed away before my father. And it was late Friday, and I dealt with a lot of stuff that day. And I was supposed to go up to the nursing home. My sister my mother moved out to where she was a nurse at, the nursing home she was in. And if I remember right, I think it was like an hour and some drive. And the next morning, got up, we were getting ready to eat breakfast, and we were going to head out. And I see my mom standing there right with the phone ring, and it was my second oldest sister to tell me that Mom passed away. And out of forgiving my mother, it's not like I didn't have some kind of feelings for my mother, but even the funeral, I had to stand up there and give a service that it was really hard for me. And I was angered. I was really, the way that it unfolded at the end brought back a lot of hate and a lot of pain over the years of what my mother has done. And I asked God just to give me peace through this. And then my father passes away about a month, I think it was, after that. And, it's the same thing. You just, I don't know, But, as I've said before, the things that's going on even with my children, you go through hurt, you go through a lot of pain, because they grew up knowing who I am as a person, and to believe the things they believe, it destroys you, a little bit of you. I mean, it takes a big part of you out. And my prayer is not to bring my children back into my life, but to bring peace and truth, and for them to stand up and be stand-up people. Not one defending me. Not one. And I don't want to turn this to where I'm taking it away from you, Donna, but I'm just trying to give you some healing words here. Pain is difficult. It's difficult on how you handle it. You know, I know my children are still alive. I get that. But in a way, they're not. You know, I grieved as they were deceased. And it too healed. Yes, I know there's someday I might run into them, or I might see them, or they might pull up and say, Dad, you don't have that chance of that happening. But you do have the opportunity to hold good memories. Day by day we heal. Day by day we can ask Jesus to heal us and to make us understand this healing. Sometimes bad things draw us closer to Him. Because, you know, He's told me plenty of times, lean not on your understanding, but lean on mine. Do not walk in as a fool that walks as a blindness, that walks of the earth. But a blind person that was born with no sight sees more than a person with sight. That took me a while to understand that, because I'm like, what exactly does that mean? And then it dawned on me one day, because we see, but yet we walk as we are blind, because we turn our ways to the other way. Basically, we overlook God, turn to our own selfish desires and ways in life. I think I'd rather be blind. Comfort is in the healing. When you look at your daughter and that, you know, when you see that smile and you see the brightness and the joy, you know, you have to understand sometimes, even in the pain of all things that we go through, at least she was happy. We may not always understand or choose to say that this person's no good for you. It could be, but it's their choice. If you try to pull something away from someone, most likely they go after it even further. I know that in darkness, sometimes it's hard to escape. Depression is one of the biggest suicidal moments. Each time I believe that when I was in my depression and I didn't cherish life. But I'm glad to see in your comments that you're glad that you're still here. Well, God still has a purpose for you. So, I'm glad you reached out. I'm glad you're still here. I'm glad that you are moving forward into that healing and reading the good word and allowing Jesus day by day to mold and sculpt you. Sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's not so painful. the things that he removes from us is, it didn't come overnight. I know this. One day, that healing will heal you, and you'll be at peace. Count the days that you've had with your daughter. Because think about it. God gave you a gift. God didn't take your gift. Her time was done. See, God gave you joy. And I wonder if you could ever go back and think about a name of a child, you know. I just think, I know she has a name, but to me, her name was Joy. And I wonder in heaven if that's her name, Joy. Because what a beautiful name. Because it brought that joy to you. You know, I know I speak a lot on here about my life and things I've been through and relating to things and how Jesus has changed me and showed me the different ways in it. I've also spoke of my hell ways and a lot of things I have never touched on. There's things I've opened up on here that some people have never even heard. You know, the first person I really ever opened up to was Darlene. She's the first person I've ever trusted with anything in my life. She's really the first person that's ever stood by me. Even though, and I know she grieves over not being able to see her granddaughter. And I ask God every day for her daughter to give her that time to spend with her. And I think that's a lot of reasons why I spend the time I spend out here. I know God will provide in any job that we take. But I'm just hoping, with me being gone, she will let her see her. And I know she said she wouldn't do it without me, but I pray God gives her the peace, if that ever happens, for her to be able to see her, because I think she's truly the only godly thing that would ever be in her life, and ever was in her life. You know, they don't understand the burden and the pain that they put on top of people when they do what they do. But it's okay, because tomorrow's a new day, right? Today we can cry, today we can grieve, but tomorrow He's going to make us stronger. So sometimes we have to grieve together. You know, there's been plenty of nights that I cried, and you know, it's hard. I found out somebody sent me some stuff from Facebook that my grandson was very sick in the hospital. And the hardest part is that you can't even go see him. Because confrontation is not the place. You know, I understand a lot of people's pain, and some days I fight every day just to be okay with being here. You don't know how many times I've asked the Lord, why did He spare me? Maybe it's to do these videos. Maybe it's for you, Donna, to have some guy just sit here and tell you his stories on life and how I overcame things, and very painful things. I know people say things are scripted and stuff. None of this stuff's scripted. It takes a lot to hold back tears these days. God has made me softer in the days that He molds me. So, I look at life and I go, what if today was my last day? What if tomorrow is my last day? And I have to look at life and go, did I do everything I possibly can for Jesus? Did I do everything I possibly can to take that time when someone's reaching out to me and do the very best that I can to give them comfort, peace? I know there was a few people on here, and I hope God leads people to these, because the more I sat and thought about it, the more I thought, man, there were some people that I was supposed to reach out to, and I feel bad because it gets so busy with driving, and I always do my prayer time and stuff too, and I know some people think that I don't pray, I don't you hear all kinds of things, and it's okay. It's okay. Because I don't let people's thoughts distract me. I've heard so many people tell me how to do this channel. Well, it's God's, first of all, and it's Jesus. And I just let Him speak to me as these things go. Why did He save me? I don't even ask anymore. Why did your daughter pass away? Maybe there was something else that nobody knew, and He did. Maybe He didn't want her to suffer and go through something horrible, that you were going to remember how she looked in those end time days compared to how healthy she looked. But what's the amazing part is you got to be with her. She yelled out for you. That's got to give you some kind of peace. Sometimes people don't even get that. You're an incredible, strong person. Don't let the devil try to rob anything from you. Press on. Ask Jesus for healing. Ask Jesus for patience each day. Ask Jesus to walk with you. Ask Him to carry you. And spend time just listening to Him. Let me read something that was written. Father, help your children to rejoice and realize that you received one of the most priceless gifts you can give them, the gift of life. May your Spirit help them remember that they're on this earth for a reason, for a joyous reason, and that they fill a role that only they can do in the great scheme of your kingdom. And I remember going through notes, and I remember going through stuff, and that came to me. So I wanted to share that with you. So Donna, you're not alone. There's a lot of people on here, a lot of prayer warriors, and I just want to close this. And anybody that comes across this, especially if you're a mother, I'm sure you can probably relate to her story of losing her child in her arms, doing CPR on her, and the pain. Mothers, I know you're going to be able to speak out a lot, and I hope you do. Even if you're not a mother, man, sometimes I wish I could have a Zoom thing when just people come and just speak and talk. But please reach out to Donna, and I'm going to pray. And if you guys, even if you can, just leave some kind support words for her. And I told her I was going to put her name in this title so she could watch the video. She doesn't know about this part, but let her know that you're thinking about her. I would hope somebody would do that for me. Also, I know I don't ask for a lot of prayer in my own life. It's not really my life. I mean, it is my life. But if you could pray for the grandchild, Chloe, to be able to go see her grandmother, Darlene, I would appreciate that. It's kind of hard to. It's kind of hard to pray and say words and have tears. It's Let's pray. Heavenly Father, I know you're on a throne that's untouchable, and Father, I know that you have a purpose, plan, and a reason for everything in your lives, and that flows into our lives. And I know you have a reason, and I know there was a reason that she had to come home. And I know it's painful for us to lose a loved one, and I know it's painful to try to go on with everyday life and to be out of the presence of you. I know we seek things sometimes that out of anger and hurt, and we may say things in a question. But I know that, Father, that you are the Father of love and peace and joy. I know you loved us so much that you sent your Son here to die on the cross just for us. Just for one person you would have done it, and he would have been gladly to do it. I thank you, Lord Jesus, for going to the cross, and I thank you for your blood that heals us, and I thank you for your presence with us that gives us peace and comfort. I just ask for comfort over Donna. I ask for peace over Donna. I ask for the memories of the smiles and the birth, and just even if it's birthdays and whatever that brought the connection of them two and that joy. I ask for those memories to shine out and everything else be taken away. That CPR moment, I ask for that to be taken out. And I ask just for comfort. I ask for healing over her. I ask for your blood to be over her, Lord, and cleanse her. Lord, I ask for an uplifting joy come over her when this prayer is being said right now and she receives these things. Lord, I ask for this patience to be with her. I ask for calm, and I ask for the spirit to be renewed in her, and know that she smiles down in that joy and that peace. Let her know, Lord, when the sunshine and the beam just comes through her as she's out walking the dogs, that when that beam of light comes down through it, that's the joy of her shining down on her mama, watching her. Let her know, Lord, that comfort and that peace. And let her know, I too must walk in that light of you. I must too follow you, Lord, so I can reunite with her one day and walk in the kingdom together. Lord, I ask for the restore of Chloe to be able to go and see Darlene. I ask for this in your name, Lord. I pray this in your name. Lord, I believe this can happen. I believe you will let this happen. But Lord, I also ask that you keep me out of the equation. I just want her to be able to see her grandmother. And Lord, I ask, not for much, but if you can grant that one thing, I would appreciate it very much. I know I don't deserve it, Lord, but I thank you for showing me mercy, and I thank you for showing me love and rescuing me when you didn't have to. And I thank you for your peace and your patience with me. I thank you, Lord, for forgiving me over and over. And I thank you for loving me when no one else did. Lord, I just ask for joy and peace over her. And let the peace and calm flow through this day.